We're gonna be live. We're live, baby. We're live. Live,
Hey, live.
stay live. Just forget about your troubles and your 9 to 5 and just sail along. That's what you do. Just sail along.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm like wondering if this time would work for you because I imagine you would be up and coaching at this time, but maybe not on Tuesdays. Or you
Well,
guys are on quarantine in DC.
I'm on this quarantine schedule now, and I'm sleeping, and I'm usually up at like 5:45.
That's what I figured.
But now that ever since quarantine, like 8:30, I'm like waking up because I've been staying up later. I've been trying to like get back on like a consistent schedule, but it's tough because there are no days and there are no nights. And
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Like beyond readjusting time, in Italy, you're in DC, right?
right.
In Italy, today we're reopening a lot of different stores,
Oh wow.
hairdressers, thank goodness, and different things. I haven't necessarily been out, but when I was doing a workout with Manola,
Yeah.
yeah, I do workout with, I was outside in the garden doing it, and she could hear the birds, and I didn't hear them, and I've been hearing them for 2 months. I've been at home,
Yeah.
but which is the longest time for a really long time. But she could hear the birds, and I was hearing all the traffic. Not the same amount as normal, quote unquote, but more traffic than I've heard in the last couple of months. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you for reminding me about the birds. Because it's like that's something that I have been enjoying in
Yeah.
this period. Like you're saying, right? What have you been enjoying in this period that we don't have to get rid of to go back to normal? Maybe you're sleeping more, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What- yeah.
I think the quarantine is a great time to reset and reevaluate what our values are and what you really care about, even from a health standpoint, from reaching out to your family standpoint. It's really easy in our life to be in a rut of like, go, 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 go. And then you look up and you're 75, right? And you're like, what did I do all my life? I'm not
Exactly.
guilty of it. I'm not saying like you should be better. Like, no, I'm like, this is what we do. And for me, at least, it's been a time to slow down, especially because the last 3 years. I mean, I'm always like a do person, but the last 3 years, I've really been hitting the gas a lot, and sometimes we hit it on one side and not the other side, and we have to learn how to learn some balance. And you don't have to work 16 hours a day to feel complete. you know.
Exactly. And also, it's like that balance that you were talking about, and I love your message. That balance that, yes, we might be balancing our work, but are we including ourselves? You know what
Right.
I mean? In that, and what's vital to us in that. And speaking of which, I love following you, the articles and stuff. I will share it here. And the last time we saw one another was in DC.
I know, randomly, right?
Yes, at Judith's party, and she's the one that sent me this link to an article about you. And it's like he's still creating
Yeah.
and creating not only for himself because this is the kind of work you do, but what you create for you also is a contribution to people's bodies and to inspiring them. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And I think we all have our gifts and we all have like our callings and the energy. And, we've discussed it a lot. I think when we first met each other, it was just like, who's matching my energy? Like, we're not used to that. Right? Like, when you're in the room, it's like you're in the room, and I'm in the room, I'm like, hey, I must find out who this woman is. Right. But yeah, there's just different ways that we can create and help people. And I think if you are always, at least for me, I'm always feeling in a servant's type of space. Like, how can I serve people? How can I bring value to people? And how can I just like drop a gem through things that I've learned that might help people, or just like give someone a pat on the back? Like the world doesn't always give a lot of people just like you're doing a good job. Like, like we need that.
I remember my first coach session, the body coach session in the States, right? And I was living in Rome already, but I was in California and this like it wasn't Beverly Hills but something like that. I'll remember the name of the town. And the coach was like, "Come on, baby, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, baby, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, baby." I just have to tell you this. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but you introduced me to the plank. And we did 10 sessions together. I had 10 sessions with you, and it totally changed my life.
Good.
It totally changed my life, and the plank thing and your encouragement in the plank thing. In those 10 sessions, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, oh, this is rough.
But it actually inspired me to know what the body is capable of, and how when you're given that your body that encouragement and that challenge,
Yeah.
that it actually transforms into the way you live your life too. The way
Yeah. And I think that's the problem with our media and marketing system, especially in America. And I learned so much about myself and about America by leaving America for those 3 years, by being in Italy those 3 years, is that we start our wellness journey on you're not enough and you're already broken and you're too big and too old and you're too slow and you can't do this. And here, let me fix you with whatever I'm trying to sell you. And I really wanted to reverse it. And I didn't care if I became a guru or a superstar or rich or whatever, but I just thought that was wrong. And I feel like you are enough as you are, as you come to me. I don't care if you're 700 pounds or Olympic athlete, you've been knocked around or you're feeling up or down, you are enough. And I think when we start at that place, then we are more energized to invest in ourselves, because you don't invest in things that you don't believe in.
Absolutely. I love that you say that. Now I'm connecting with that. It's so you express often what I perceive and know, and probably what other people perceive and know. And that is, coach, yes, you're doing through physical fitness training, you're also doing moral coaching and also a way of life. And that is so true, that thing about, the aching thumb. Like, that's the way you're supposed to do it. Identify something that is, what I say is actually somewhere a talent of people,
Yeah.
Identify it though as a limitation, and then, make them feel badly about it, acknowledge how badly they may not even feel about it, and then and sell yourself. Yeah.
It's like the fear marketing. And I just don't think that I call it Fox News in it.
What do you call it?
Fox News in it. Like,
Fox losing it. Yeah.
Good morning, you're gonna die. Stay tuned. Like, unless you work out every day, you're gonna die. While that might be true, like let's take a different perspective on it, right? And then I think that way you also don't connect a negative feeling and emotion to the act of motion or to whatever we're trying to learn. Like, I don't want you to feel negative about your food choices by always thinking, oh, I can't have this, I can't have this, I can't have this, versus like, hey, I feel better when I eat this, or like my body deserves fresh, natural things because it helps me perform and it makes me feel good. So that's why I do that.
Instead of rules, so you're giving people, instead of rules that you have to follow, you're increasing their options and giving them information about the options that might stipulate and choose it. If you don't choose it, oh well, you still have tomorrow.
Yeah. And also I'm big on the thought that, like, what I call conscious eating. And it's just like, I just want you to be conscious of what you do. Like, if you want to eat hamburgers every night, that's fine. But I want you to be conscious of what you're doing and what you're putting in your body. And what I've found, at least with people I've dealt with, is the more conscious people are about stuff, the better decisions you make. Because we don't intentionally want to do harm to this amazing vessel that we get, So I think and not ridiculing them when they do, because, all right, cool. Sometimes I'll be like, I had a whole pizza yesterday. And they're like, you had a pizza.
This conscious eating, is it like a style or a diet type? Because somebody talked to me about this. It might have been conscious dieting or something. But have you heard of that before? Or something like that? Because what she explained to me, I was in Kuwait, and we were doing a coaching session, and she was talking about this conscious eating or something program she was doing where they were saying, eat everything you want and everything you like. And
Yeah.
she was gaining weight. And I was like, but it was like a moment where she had been dieting so much. And then she went back to eating everything she liked. But it was almost like,
Yeah.
that if you do it from consciousness, you're not going to gain weight. Honey, you eating 3 plates of pasta a day. Hello. You're asking. So what's the difference between that? Like not making people feel guilty, but having them conscious about what they're eating. And I work with bodies a lot and communication with bodies and like, ask your body, man.
Yeah.
Are you thinking this? Do you want this? Do you need this? Not just going from one extreme to the other, I guess, right? From one extreme to eating without consciousness to one extreme with eating with what people call consciousness, which is judgment sometimes, right? So what is that middle ground that we can invite people to for their health? Yeah.
So I think, and I don't know all about like how that program was running, but maybe the goal was to get them to that other extreme, and a further goal to allow them to find the middle.
Right. And then they just stop because then the first phase wasn't working. I don't know that much about it. But I remember they called it conscious eating, and I was like, this does not match the vibe of what I would consider conscious eating. So I didn't even really,
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that when you are, so I do think studies have shown that like when people feel very restrictive, it doesn't last a long time. And I think when people, almost every diet program, whatever, works about the same. Like the end results are about the same, no matter what it was, keto or paleo or low carb or high carb or counter carb, whatever. So it really comes down to a point of like what works for you and what do you feel is consistent for you. So, I mean, whenever I think of like programs with people and making them more conscious and stuff, I ask them questions and I find out what their response is based on like, do you think you could do that? And I keep telling them different stuff until they say, yeah, I think I could do that. Because that's where I'm going to start. I'm not going to say like, you need to do this. Because if we're starting at a place where you're like, oh my God, my trainer's got me eating no bread after 2:00 or whatever. And I will say that in my younger days as a coach, I have done that.
No, because I was thinking of the plank.
You do have to plank though. And just trying to find and make that as a starting point and just kind of grow with that, because at the end of the day, this is a marathon and not a sprint. And I think if we look at our health, our wealth, our well-being in that light, a small improvement, another thing I try to do with people is talk about like where they'll be next year. And a lot of people don't think about that. They're thinking like 30 days, 20 days, 15 days. And I was like, if next year you told me your goal is to lose weight or to tone up or whatever. I say, if next year you've lost 10 pounds or next year you've even worked out 3 times a week, every week, and right now you're at 0, that's a win.
Right.
Like that, like let's be really realistic. You are going from 0 and in a year you have a habit. That's right. A win.
I love that you take people into consideration when you're advising them and making a plan for them. A lot of times it's like superimposing what you think is right onto someone, but asking them questions and modifying, right, the suggestion that you're giving them based on what they say. Yes, okay, I can do that. Right, that's so cool, yeah. And that's just that's a wide vision and perspective, and including people. That's a big heart.
Yeah, I lead with my heart.
Yeah. So you have been transforming this coaching business into you've got a new space, right? In a new place, or what? Yeah.
Yeah. So really kind of evolved out of just the personal training to, I knew that whatever I did, I wanted to be bigger than me. and I can only touch with so many lives through myself. So I developed a sweat program, and sweat is just a extension of how I do my personal training. Like we lead with 5 core values: devotion, inclusion, challenging, fun, inspirational. So like whatever we do has to hit all 5 of those or we don't do it. So
Love that.
we really just want to create a space. Like my ultimate mission in life, like if I do this, then I've done what I'm supposed to be on this planet for. I just want to create a space where everyone in the world can be confident in their skin.
Awesome.
And so so sweat is like, it looks like a club, like the lights are dim, the lights are kind of jumping around and bumping. We have spray paint on the wall, and it's a workout facility, but it's more than that. It's a place where people build community. It's a place where people feel empowered, and for some people, a lot of it's just like a place where they don't feel judged and where someone will give you a pat on the back. And all my coaches have gone through my coaching program, and they all believe in our same way of life. And we've been pretty successful. We've been open. Well, actually, this week, I guess 3 years ago, I signed the lease. So it's been about 3 years since like I officially jumped all the way into it. And, things are going well. And
I did read that. You do that in the morning too, or it's after work? It's after work?
5 a day.
All right.
It's
5
like,
sessions a day.
Yeah, so it's a big ordeal because the rent is so big.
And also people have different time frames. So you're training trainers.
Yeah, I'm not really on the floor that much anymore. I have a few select personal training clients that I deal with that I've had for a long time, and it's kind of like I look at like I really enjoy the friendships that I've developed through training. Like, even though I would train you, I feel like in ways you were training me. We learn from each other, and that
Yeah.
I think you have to always be open to that. And I teach the trainers all the time. I was like, it's never about money because that is your 45 minutes or hour also. So you have to really connect with people. Like, don't train people you hate. Like just like don't work with clients that you don't like or don't care about. Like you have to like enjoy that time period. So I have a few clients that I still stay with, but for the most part, really been training trainers. I'm working on a new coaching program for young coaches and helping them mentor them and really get them to their goals right now.
And what about your clients from Rome? Because I remember that last cookout at your house, and the barbecue you gave me.
Yeah.
We left, right? We don't have it anymore, but we loved it. And the clients, they were just gorgeous. I remember one of them. I don't even remember. I don't know. I'm not in contact with them all, but I remember one of them said, the only guy that has turned me on, my body on so much and up is my husband. The only other guy. I don't remember who she is, but maybe you can remind me who she is because I loved her sense of humor. I don't necessarily connect so much with Americans here in Rome, but I'm not here that often. But maybe now is the time, and that's something. And this is something that this period has been just checking in on a mutual friend from DC, and I was like, hey. And she, and we started chatting about you, and I was like, "How's he doing?" Sent me the article, and I was like, "I'm getting him on my health, wealth, and beauty."
I love it. It's funny how the universe works that way, right?
And brings us, and you said that, like connecting with family, connecting with friends, and also remembering that time and space, and remembering just what you're talking about, like who and what has been a nourishing, nurturing contribution to our lives, and like you said, the universe did not bring them in casually. And what if you're willing to actually expand that, turn it up, reconnect with that? How much is reconnecting with you allowing me to reconnect with me?
Yeah.
And I remember. I'll just say this. I remember I was recently, for the first time in a long time, in the center near this hotel that we had gone on the top of the roof once and had an amazing aperitivo.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I was like, I know this hotel. I was here with Gerard.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like life is to be lived. If anyone taught me that, it was you, right? Like you are that spirit of like, hey, I'm over here, but I think I'm gonna go over here. And I'm like, wait, what? Like Tuesday, and you're like, I think I'm gonna go to Australia tomorrow. I'm like, oh, are you? You know? She's like, yeah, I'm just feeling like some Australia. And I was like, okay. And I think, what Rome did for me, it was the first time in my life that I wasn't like doing the very American thing of like, all right, first, one, like make a list, do this, two, do this, three, go to college, four, get a job, five, get a house, like doing all these things in this sequence of like boxing yourself in. And it was the first time like I just allowed the universe and the energy just to take me. I was like, you know what? I'm yours. I'm just going to be open to whatever happens. I'm be open to people. I'm gonna be open to experiences. Hey, you want to go over here and have a party? Cool. Like, and just, it was very freeing.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great way to live life. And most people don't ever experience that.
Right. And I don't know if you're with the same partner you were with when you came here, the reason you came here. One of the things that,
No.
yeah. And how grateful am I to that partner
Yeah.
for getting you to Rome so that I could meet you. And
Yeah.
that shows up, if we're connected with us, like in following our awareness, our knowledge, asking ourselves questions. Should I do 20 squats? Should I do, go to Rome? Should I do this? Should I do that? Yes. Okay, it's in line with my vibration. And being connected with you and your body, you get to recognize what choices are in line with your vibration. So coming here, and I think you started your coaching when you came, right? You weren't even doing that before. So look what future, right? Can this healthy mind, this healthy spirit, this healthy, uh, healthy way of living and being connected, what future can it create for us that is expansive and generates, and this is what I put in the description of this live, generates money.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't have come, the same thing. Like I'm here for, I came for love. And I wanted to know, what's love got to do with it? But I had been following my mind in school and the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the list, the checklist. Okay, I'll get married. Okay, I'll then have a family. Okay, then I'll do this. I'll get a good job. I'll work in a career, and then I'll do this. And then, following that checklist, is it yours? Is it ever yours? And what deviations, right, can show up for you that the universe didn't have a way to present to you? God, Allah, Buddha did not have a way to present to you if you hadn't taken that first step. Yeah. That may have been beyond, right? Beyond the logical checklist.
Yeah.
But it just rang a bell for you,
I'll never sit here and say it was easy, because right at that point, I met my ex-partner and whatever on this side, but I had just bought a house. I just bought 2 cars. I was going into my 4th or 5th year I was in charge of sports medicine at Bowie State University. And like, it was just kind of like, like sometimes in a job, your first 2 years, you're just trying to figure out what the heck is this thing. Like you're just trying not to get fired, like, and then it was just like clicking. I just like got in the department to get me an assistant. It was going to get easier, like the smooth sailing ride and getting comfortable. I was getting comfortable, right? And of course they were like, don't get comfortable here, take this. So I really like had to, and this is how I make decisions now too, is like, I will make a list. I sat at my kitchen table, I made a list, and I wrote out pros, cons of moving or not moving.
Great
And
tip. 1 second, don't go. Great tip for anyone who's listening to this now or in the future. The list of pros and cons is a great exercise in having more clarity about what the right choice for you is. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and it's simple. It makes it so simple, right? Because we cloud all decisions with like, oh no, 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 but my mom, my cousin, my cousin, you know, what mama gonna think, what my daddy gonna think, you know. But it really came down to one thing that like I really couldn't deal with, and it was the what if. And that was the biggest con, was the what if. What if I stay, I would always have that what if in my head. But you know, worst case scenario, you go, things don't work out, whatever, you come back and you really fall back. Like the worst case scenario, you go back to where you started.
Right.
Really, you don't, because you have experiences.
Exactly.
So you really go back to there.
Right. And what we usually, I mean, I always say to people, don't ever go back, go forward, even because you're different, you change, and then your interaction with the place will change. But even if you go forward, you see past experiences in a different way. You know, sometimes they seem smaller or they seem greater. But every choice creates something. You know.
Yeah.
So, and if we're willing to see it not, like you said, as a bad choice, but to say, okay, I chose this, so, and it doesn't seem to be really working out. So what else can I choose, you know, from here? Because no mistakes, there's no coincidences in that, right? And so what are you looking at in the future? So this, I love that you created this business. I'm doing that too with I've got a 7 steps to flawless communication, my book, and we will definitely be talking about that because the message you sent me, you talked about step 4 in my 7 steps, which is to go beyond the veil, right? And as I'm gonna send you the book, and
I can't wait to read it.
I know, you know, it's really big though, and as you can see.
Oh, perfect.
Right, and also, but
kind of book.
right? But the pages are full.
Right, big font, small book. Some of us call that accessible.
You know what I mean? The pages are quite full, but it's writing somewhere. Yeah. So each step is just 1 page. But and this is so connected to what we're talking about because, and to this period. Okay, 20 things to say at once. But maybe I should write down the pros and the cons. Okay, no. Because this, what we're calling social distance, right? Mm-hmm. That we're supposed to be maintaining from people, and that is actually talking about physical distance.
Yeah.
But over so long, and maybe we'll talk about it at another time. For most of our lives, we've created a social distance, even when we're together with someone.
Oh, for sure.
You know? And so hiding behind that, and I actually did a Facebook Live today just about those birds and inviting people, don't go back to the social distance that goes beyond the physical distance that you've always had, you know, from people. Yeah. And just recall something in this period that allowed you, like you said, to get connected with you. Yeah. So what are some of the things? Yeah.
You just sparked one thing that like I learned so much living in Rome. I learned so many life lessons over there. But like, you know, I played basketball while I was over there too. And it was funny because living that kind of embassy American life, and then but also being really immersed in the culture, which a lot of embassy people, they just kind of stay in the bubble, whatever. I would hear certain things, but then I was living really with them, so I would like learn some things. And I remember like one thing that you know, people would say, a lot of my teammates would kind of talk about how Americans were so distant from each other, in the sense of like you would know someone all the time but never have had dinner at their house, but never have met their family, but never had like really engaged with each other. And they thought it was so weird. And then we hear on the other side, Americans would think that, would say Italians would seem so cold sometimes because they didn't just like speak to you all the time. They just walking on the street. And it was just like, we have this phony distance as Americans. Hey, how are you? Oh my God. And it stops there. But we don't really communicate. We're scared. That's scary, right? Real communication is scary. You have to be vulnerable a little bit.
Absolutely. You have to be vulnerable. I mean, and you are basically, this is what you're talking about. Anyway, go ahead. The step 3 is about barriers down, right?
Oh.
And that's being willing to be vulnerable, but not from a position of weakness, but a position of potency, right? Because and I'll tell you, when you do have those barriers up and that distance, then things attach to you really easily, you know? Yeah. And you think they fall, but your body receives them anyway, and it starts hardening, right? And putting walls around your heart, you know? And that's what connects us to everyone. It's not a healthy, it's not healthy. Why choose a body? Why freaking be here with a body and a heart?
Let's close.
You're not actually engaging them. Yeah. And thank you for articulating that, because it's different. It's like, why would I be here in Rome if I have to live an American life? I could live in Boston, New York, where, So, and the food, that is such an Italian expression that is, oh no, I don't know them very well. we've never even had dinner together.
Right. Exactly. It's great. It's funny. But like, my Italian friends, I've been in their home. Their grandmother has cooked for me. I've met their brothers and sisters, and my Italian was rough at best. So a lot of times I was just sitting there like, but we still could communicate. And like, for me, they probably didn't even understand what that meant for me, because when they meet people, they thought this was a normal trajectory. Like, hey, yeah, you are my friend. Like, of course you come home and meet my family and we cook for you and whatever. But for me, I was like, I hadn't had that experience with a lot of people. Like, people hadn't really opened up, over the course of my life. So I was like, that is really, to me, that was like very special. And I always remember that stuff. So,
and how much has it enriched your life and the invitation you can be, right, for people to engage with you, different things. All you have to do is know how to say hello to someone in their language, and it completely opens them up to receiving you, because you've reached beyond, you know what I mean? That first step. And, it's Italy. One of the things I loved about it when I first came here is there's a curiosity about people from other places, and Americans, and so that is, the curiosity is quite an invitation for engaging in some way. And that's something that I've always had. I mean, I always say, even if you meet someone who's completely boring, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, all the stuff going on in life and around you, how hard do you have to work? How talented do you have to be to actually be boring? And willing to look at that. So what about the future? Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I really feel like I'm at this transitional point in my life again, and it's really kind of exciting, where I'm looking toward presenting and living as authentic as possible. And I'm working on a podcast. It's either called Unveiled or Unmasked. I think I might go with Unmasked, especially with today, how we're all.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it just kind of goes with it. But it's really just talking about like the mask that we have and we walk around with each day, and the characters we create. I'm really looking at like even dropping the whole Coach G thing. I've really been thinking about it, and I think as long as sometimes we create these superheroes and these people who are the versions of ourselves that we would like to see, or like it almost like we create this superhero that, you know, when I think of like Coach G versus Gerard, you know, Coach G was strong in every place that Gerard was weak or nervous or scared. So like where, you know, I look at it, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, but like I sit at home, like I can chill, just me by myself. But and I get nervous when I'm in front of a lot of people, and people wouldn't know that. But Coach G doesn't get nervous. Coach G gets in front of 100 people and goes, "Let's do it," you know. Double with like my sexuality and stuff. Like when I was young, Gerard was very, very scared to be completely himself. Coach G is waving the flag, you know. So like, I think we all, in some ways, create masks that we wear, and whether it's at work or at home or whatever. But I think what I've found is through being more vulnerable and showing who I am and just having a heart with people, I've had people be able to open up, and I've seen who people are beyond their mask, and I've been able to peek in it where the world doesn't. And my goal was to get everyone to kind of take that mask down a little bit, because when you take your mask down, I see that, oh, you have the same insecurities that I do. Oh, we have a connection. Oh, you think that? But you seem so confident, Kass. I see you're so gregarious all the time. Like I would never think that you have this insecurity. And if we kind of show that we have more in common than we do apart, then we are able to connect better. And we are able to not be fearful when we walk in that room, and know that, like, I know I have coaches that work under me who have the body of the gods, but I know that they're nervous and they're scared, and they don't feel confident even in their skin, and things that you would never think of, right? But I know these things. But I think if we present that and people knew that about you as a coach, then you would be more received by the overweight person or the person who just doesn't think that they have it, right? And, you know, kind of like going back to what you were saying, like if we're not living our life with our heart out and open and ready to receive, like why are we living? So
absolutely beautiful. And I think I'll have you on as a special guest on one of my 7-step specialties, because the first phase is about connecting to who you are, right? Recognizing what your magic and genius is.
I already read the book.
You did. You were channeling it to me. You were here 5 years ago. I wrote it 5 years ago.
Oh, really?
One of the elements that were channeling it to me, and just recognizing who you're not when you're not being you, with walls and barriers and masks and veil, so that you can reconnect with people. Right, phase 3, from a different space, and establish true connection. Also engaging with this beautiful planet, and I love that you're, you know, how can you creating a healthy life in with your body, right? And create more money and possibilities for you, because that's what you had said, and allow you to recognize the beauty of life. For me, I know when I'm totally connected to me and being me, when everyone and everything seems new and beautiful, even if it's someone I see every day or a place I see every day, I see it beautiful. And I know that I'm acknowledging the beauty within me, and it's being reflected all around, you know. Yeah. So that's and that's so often. So that I love that that podcast stuff. And one of your questions that you ask your clients, and where will you be in a year? Where do you want to be in a year?
Where do I want to be in a year? I want to be running my program to empower coaches. I want to be doing like a monthly program. I've been writing up like the outline and stuff for that. I want to do more traveling and speaking. I want less things that like kind of lock me into a space, and really allow myself to kind of travel and flow. We also have launched a new fitness app, the Sweat Anywhere app. So virtual training, you can do it wherever you are. We have 90 plus workouts on this thing a month. Yoga.
Please share those links with me so I
Yeah.
can post it in the, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'll actually share like our 7-day free trial with you, so anyone can kind of jump on
Yeah.
there and
All
check
right,
it out.
cool.
But
Cool.
yeah, like I'm in a very freeing space. I learned a lot about myself the last three years were really, really tough. Like running the business from a like brick and mortar standpoint and being very like American businessy and this and P&Ls like I really like learned so much more about myself. And it's like we go through these ebbs and flows and you have to allow yourself to go through that. But I really one of my friends always says like you you learn what Kool-Aid flavor you like by tasting all the Kool-Aid you don't like. So I really learned, like the studio thing was really, really important that I had to check that box. But I really learned like that run the way that I was running it is not my natural like Coach G thing, being locked down in a certain way. So I'm really looking at ways to like free up my spirit, touch a lot of people, move around, all types of stuff. So
Yeah. And that's, it's like you don't have to, if it's your business, it's great to know what the various elements are, right?
mhm.
So that you can recognize what kinds of roles are required, what kinds of talents people that work with you need in order to keep going. And it doesn't mean you have to keep going. And I love that way that you continue to create in life and experience it and move on. But you move on, but you somehow create things that will be a continuous contribution for you. So I'm really looking forward to seeing and experiencing your magical creations in the future. And we would love to maybe we'll do something together, baby.
Yeah, I'd love to. I got to come back over there and come see you.
Yeah, well, when we're able to travel again, I'll definitely be coming to the States. I got my sister there, and yeah, I started this little thing with my sister in love the other on Sunday, and this period's been a great period for reconnecting to me too, reconnecting to I mean, every single experience, and please, every single experience that we've had has contributed to who we are now and where we are now. If we recognize that it's a contribution, even those that don't seem so nice, right, or difficult, right, if we don't look at them as as a bad experience, just as a contribution, then we actually learn something from it. There's
Yeah,
this Italian guy, famous guy that says, sports guy, I never lose. I either win or I learn something.
you learn.
Yeah. So keep on moving, don't stop. Awesome. All right, my baby. Thank you for waking up early.
Of course, I know it's not even early, but thank you for getting me up. I was just sitting in that quarantine. So, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that you guys are able to get out and actually move around a little bit. So,
We'll see what it's like and that reconnecting, remembering what the gifts have been from this quarantine period, and stay healthy, stay wealthy, and stay wise. Mwah.
well,
Thank you, baby.
thank you. Have a great one.
Thank you. You too.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao. Coach G, Gerard Burley. I'll be putting in the chat his link to he's offering a free 7-day training session. He's awesome, coaches. I hope that you can get the energy of that. And what health can we be aware of that will create more wealth and allow our inner beauty to shine out? Thank you. Join me again next week on Tuesday. And until then, have an awesome, awesome day. All right now. Bye bye.